I spent most of my life teaching in the arts.
So we've decided to include our PBS station in our will.
Consider including New England Public Media in your future plans. Visit nepm.org for more information.
It's such a good feeling to know that we will have an impact on future people's relationships to arts.
You're watching New England Public Media, WGBY Springfield.
You were right in what you said. We let our emotions get the better of us.
Welcome to Versailles, Dauphine.
What is required of me?
You say what?
We cannot choose who we fall in love with.
Society can be merciless. Protect yourself.
I can't do this.
We have skills and dedication.
Watch these all-new dramas Sunday on NEPM.
Coming up, we're connecting you with the creativity and culture in your community, including the first woman to take command of the USS Constitution.
To be here and to be accessible for the next generation so they can see you can do this. If you want to command a ship, you can do it.
A Franklin County man transitions from school teacher to brewmaster.
When the money gets scary or we're figuring out how to make payroll every week. But then there's the really high moments when you see the community that you build around a place like this.
And we'll learn how museums are handling the complex ethics around untold queer histories.
The Stowe Center is motivated by this really simple tenet, which is to tell the truth about the history of our country and our nation.
Join us for those stories and more as we explore the creativity, culture, and community that make us Western New England. Up next on Connecting Point.
Support for Connecting Point is provided by our contributing viewers.
Welcome, and thanks for joining us for Connecting Point, your source for creativity, culture, and community. I'm Saidali Bauer. Every week we explore all that the region has to offer, and today we're coming to you from the Durfee Conservatory on the campus of UMass Amherst. Since 1867, this tropical oasis has served as a respite for generations of students looking to get away from the hustle and bustle of the university's flagship campus. The conservatory's colorful camellia trees, exotic orchids, and lush rainforest room are a welcome sight as we wait for spring to arrive in western Massachusetts. But our first story takes us east to the chilly waters of Boston Harbor. Built in 1797 and known as Old Ironsides, the USS Constitution is the oldest commissioned warship currently afloat. While in service, it played key roles in many battles, but today it's a floating museum that sees over 600,000 visitors annually. And recently, its long history added a new chapter as Billie Farrell became the 77th commanding officer of the USS Constitution and the first woman to hold that position in the ship's 225-year history. Connecting Point took a road trip to the Charlestown Naval Yard to meet with Commander Farrell and take a tour of the historic ship.
It's very humbling to be here, and so if you go on the ship and you look at the list of commanding officers that have served here, you'll see naval heroes' names like Porter, Preble, Bainbridge, Decatur, and for anyone that knows naval history, those are very iconic names that really established our country as a naval force. And so to follow in their footsteps and then to be here and to represent the over 70,000 women that we have serving in the Navy today, every day I come here is a privilege to represent that for the country and the Navy.
Yeah, so we are the oldest commissioned warship afloat in the world.
In 1998, we did a road trip from Kentucky up the East Coast. We stopped in Boston, walked the Freedom Trail, and happened to come here to USS Constitution. My dad took that photo. First thing I did when I found out I was selected to be the captain was to go find the picture, to really reflect on it and how far the journey has brought me. She was built as a three-masted 44-gun frigate. In 1797 is when she was launched, so we just celebrated the ship's 225th birthday. She was made to be really a new class of ship that took the best of both worlds, so she had speed and firepower. And today, we still honor that. We are still made of wood. The Navy grows the trees we need to repair the ship at a base in Indiana.
Stand by for bells!
So 1998, so the same year that photo was taken of me next to the ship, is the same year a woman assumed command of a combatant ship in the Navy for the first time. So just as timeline goes, you know, I always find it very ironic that that picture was taken the same year and I end up here as another first in that long lineage of women that have come before me. So usually I come in the morning, I get a workout in, and then I usually do some email and meetings and phone calls. And then absolutely, at some point I go out to the ship. I try to interact with as many guests as possible, talk to the crew. So that consumes a lot of my day. And then other days I have speaking engagements and I do a variety of different things across the area. So it's every day is a little different.
So 10 to 15% of the ship is still original, mostly the keel, the back.
We do probably 3 to 4 special events a week where we interact with the public. We host tours on the ship. In the summer, though, we see 3,000 to 5,000 people a day, and so the sailors are out on the deck giving those tours, interacting with the public, and sharing the stories of what the Navy does today. So often I tell people Constitution was built for freedom of the seas, open shipping lanes, anti-piracy, all missions the Navy still does in 2023. And we still fire twice a day, so every morning at 8 a.m. when we play the national anthem and raise the flag, and then every evening at sunset when we lower the flag, we still fire. So anybody that's in the area is very familiar with that sound.
I saw a Naval Academy.
It's always an overwhelming response when you start talking to people about the names, just even associated with the ship. But George Washington named Constitution. John Adams was at the commissioning. Paul Revere did the coppersmithing on the ship. You put those names with something and it becomes very real for people. And then when you talk about the wars that the ship fought in, and it's a battleground that represents the strength, dedication, and perseverance of our sailors and our armed forces from, you know, the days of 1812 all the way through today. They always just leave very in awe of the ship and the mission and what she has accomplished in her time.
So I'm the captain of the ship, Commander Farrell, and so
I think for me it's about just being accessible. For me, I was almost always the senior woman in my command. I knew there were women in command of ships. Just because I didn't see them didn't mean that it wasn't possible. But to be here and to be accessible for the next generation so they can see that you can do this. If you want to command a ship, you can do it. And so it's just nice to be the person that they can see, and if they need to relate to that. Again, it's very humbling because I've had little girls come up and ask to give me a hug on the ship before, and it just always makes me take a step back and put things into perspective.
The Harriet Beecher Stowe Center in Hartford recently hosted a lecture exploring how to approach possible LGBTQIA+ relationships and themes in the works of artists who did not self-identify. The discussion was prompted by new research about Stowe's great-niece, Catherine Seymour Day, and how her identity may have shaped her role as a women's activist. I spoke with Amy Hufnagel, the Director of Programming at the Stowe Center, to learn more about how museums are handling the complex ethics surrounding untold queer histories and interpreting the sexuality of women in the early 20th century.
The Stowe Center interprets Harriet Beecher Stowe's life, author and abolitionist, and her great niece is Catherine Seymour Day. And so related to the Beecher family, and was really the driving force that preserved all of that Nook Farm block of Hartford. So she both bought Harriet Beecher Stowe's house back, and then she bought and worked on preserving Mark Twain's house, the carriage houses, and the corner property, which is now called the Catherine Seymour Day, that is the Chamberlain property originally.
And so right now, CT Humanities has funded a project around Catherine Seymour Day and her identity with the context of gender and female sexuality. So with this new research being done, what insights have so far emerged around Catherine?
She's a complex woman, and a lot of her collections and letters are saved. She never married. She had many long, friendships that went on for years and were quite intimate. And there were a number of things in the archive that made us wonder about her sexuality and her identity. It's complicated to do history like this well, and we didn't just want to surmise or guess on this, right? And if she certainly didn't choose to be out in her own life, then what's our responsibility as an organization to out her now? And so we started asking ourselves a lot of really complicated questions about who could we turn to do really good and responsible and ethical history that would be a positive impact on the LGBTQ plus communities rather than, something that was sort of just a we don't know kind of answer.
Such an interesting point to bring upon this about if she wasn't outing herself in that time, who are we to out her now? And it's challenging because the historians researching this are inevitably viewing this through a 21st century lens. And so can you elaborate a little bit more on how challenging it is to interpret relationships as being LGBTQ plus when you aren't even sure, did that individual identify as such? Like, what are some of the ethics around this that you're finding?
I think you really can't put our 21st century lens on Catherine's life because the way she uses language, for instance, in communicating with a friend is completely different than you or I might use with a language. It's much with a friend. It's much more affectionate. It's more elaborate and full of like overt care for, these are all things we would align with a more intimate relationship today. Yeah. Whereas at the time in the 19th century and turn of the 20th century, it was really just a sign of like beautiful friendship, right? So that's kind of one example. We turned to a scholar, Susan Ferentinos, who is an expert in this topic, and she came to the Stowe Center from doing research around Eleanor Roosevelt. Eleanor Roosevelt is another sort of beautiful member of our historic women's history community whose identity and her relationships are somewhat confounding to historians, right? And so anyway, Susan's really an expert in this field, and this is what she does. And what's beautiful about what she does is she brings like all of the gigantic historical information. This is her expertise. And she layers all of the other things that we know onto the individual. So you're not just looking at the individual's letters per se, but you're looking at the individual's letters in the context of this massive archive.
And that's important to kind of have all this context, right?
100%. Yeah. And in fact, so many organizations were sort of struggling with these issues of how to do this ethical and responsible history telling that she actually authored a book called Interpreting LGBTQ History at Museums and Historic Sites. And it's kind of like this really important text that organizations go to if they're thinking about doing this kind of work.
It's such a complex situation as we've been talking about. And so, yeah, I was wondering about some of those guidelines that are suggested for museums and institutions such as the Stowe Center to allow them to tell these stories that may have been hidden or erased or people were afraid to come through. So what are some of those guidelines that you can follow going forward?
Here's the sort of basic thing. You just can't read between the lines, so to speak, right? You have to have direct written or documented evidence of the nature of the relationship. And, just surmising that it could be is just not good history. So I think the main point for audiences to hear today is, speculation is out.
It's as simple as that. You just can't assume.
It's as simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so with this new insight around Catherine and her sexuality possibly, how could that have influenced her work as an activist and a promoter of women's rights?
I just think she was an amazing, forward-thinking woman in general, and she was choosing to do really good, important cultural work at a time when women and work was a complicated issue and in and of itself not straightforward, right? Women didn't have the right to vote. They were expected to marry. They were expected to all property moved from male to male. You know, there were a lot of things that she was pushing up against besides the potential sexuality question. And so what we love about interpreting Catherine Seymour Day is all of the ways in which she was pushing outside the boundaries of normative behavior for a woman. You know, she went to Europe and studied painting, and she was a really amazing painter. And so she was also engaged not just in history, but in the arts. And she really loved this idea of the creative endeavor, which of course comes from Harriet too, who also felt like she should use her creative endeavor to make the world a better place. And so that had to be part of the lineage that she absorbed from her great aunt, right? And then the lineage that we absorb today at the Stowe Center, which is that we're still trying to tell history and do good cultural work to make the world a better place and to encourage social justice and positive reform in our country.
Drew Phillips' career as a beer maker began over a decade ago on the West Coast as an out-of-work school teacher. As his passion for brewing grew, Phillips moved to Western Massachusetts and eventually brought his own beer to the market in 2019. 2 years later, on Halloween night, Phillips and his wife opened the doors of the aptly named Four Phantoms Brewery in Greenfield. Connecting Point's Brian Sullivan brings us the story.
When Friday rolls around in any town, USA, it's never much of a surprise to see an uptick in crowd size at the local pub, saloon, or bar. It is Friday, after all. Here in Greenfield, there's a brew house in town that's done its part to make itself known as the local, and they've done so without one major component.
We very deliberately didn't want to have TVs in here. We were thinking, and you know, my time in various pubs and things like that had more of like a family or community feel versus, a place you go, you sit with your people, watch the game, you know, and maybe don't interact with anybody else besides your bartender. We really wanted this place to have a community feel where you walk in, you see people you know, you say, hey, you know, we want to be like Greenfield's living room a little bit.
What better way to create that living room feel than with a pizza, a glass of suds, and a bunch of friends playing board games? Sounds a little far-fetched? Well, on every other Friday night around here, it's the norm, and it looks pretty fun.
This was a group of friends that really enjoyed playing board games and really wanted an outlet to get together on a regular basis and play games. And Four Phantoms, as being a local brewery that was really close to a lot of people that were in the core group that wanted to get together, was very gracious in allowing us to go and come here and play games. And it's just really great for the local business and to support them, and it's really great for us to all have an excuse to get together on a regular basis and enjoy each other's company and have fun.
Here at Four Phantoms, whose name is a nod to the Four Seasons, nearly each night of the week features a special event that brings out a local crowd. But it's a crowd that's probably never even seen the building when it looks like this.
Four Phantoms Brewing Company is one of those places that most people seem to only know about after the sun goes down. But there is a daytime operation here. For right now, it's a one-man show.
Of course, it's not always glamorous beer making that goes on here. Sometimes, like the day that we stopped in, we have what Drew Phillips refers to as a cellar day.
When you have a cellar day, that's mostly, you know, cleaning up. If you got something broken, that's the day to fix it. You know, if you need kegs washed, that's the day you do it. If you need to clean tanks or things like that. So, you know, spinning plates, trying to get as much done as you can, you know, while kegs are being washed, you know, checking on beer that's in tank. While you're checking on beer that's in tank, maybe you're cleaning a tank, stuff like that. So, yeah, and then, you know, doing 2 deliveries today on top of that, so...
When Phillips and his wife opened the business in the fall of 2021, he left the corporate world to pursue entrepreneurship, where the reward was prioritized over the risk. in spite of those inevitable times when it would feel like they were just chasing dollar bills.
Those are the down moments when, the money gets scary, or like we're figuring out how to make payroll every week. But then there's the really high moments when, you see the community that you build around a place like this. We literally had a guy who's been bringing his puppy, in ever since the day he adopted it. People are making memories here. We're building community. People have met their friends and, things like that in our pub. So those are the really important moments when you see the community that we're establishing here, and the joy that people get out of coming into the space.
And when we stopped in, that included everyone from the bar patrons and the game players right down to the game night hosts.
I just think it's really important for me to be able to count on this every other week and know I have this game time set aside to connect with people again and like socialize again, and kind of get out of the house when the last couple of years really perpetuated people staying at home and just watching TV or looking at your phones or doing things, and society has become more dependent on that. And so no one looks at anything technology-wise when doing it, and it's really creative and interesting ways to like socialize with people but also be entertained.
The recent exhibition, Something Extraordinary, a visual review of story as timeless, delves into the process of visual storytelling and examines Black history through the lens of 8 Black artists. Last week, we introduced you to 3 of the artists responsible for the exhibit on display at Westfield State University. And this week, we continue with part 2 of our discussion, exploring how the project fosters unity and the inspirations behind the installations.
Art is like the lifeblood of a society or, a community. And if you don't have that, there's always feel like there's something missing. Me and Ima went somewhere and there was no paintings up, there was nothing up. And we're like, this place sucks. It's boring in here. And like, it makes me want to grab a marker and draw on the wall because it was just so bland. And it's like, artists are like the spice of life. And when you have that little bit of, like even this exhibit alone, like everybody has their lane that they're in, and they're in their lane and doing everything so well that it stands out from everybody else. We're all doing art, we're all using paint, we're literally, doing the same thing essentially. We're creating something that was in our head. And it's like, for people to experience that, it not only creates good memories, but you inspire other artists as well.
Yeah, that is a huge part of it, because I didn't know any of you aside from Ima, and these people are my friends now. We are, and they're my support group, whether or not you guys know this. But I found when we were installing work, and even on the day of the exhibit, there was a lot of talk about what our work practices are, sharing new techniques, and it was like I left each of those interactions just so excited and just pumped to try new things. And it's like when you go to school and you feel like you're the only one, and then you make a friend or you meet somebody and they're weird like me, like they get it, they're my people. And then I don't know, you push that energy outward too. You find more of your people. It's been a really awesome experience.
And we talked about this before the interview, but this exhibition is, sharing Black stories made by Black artists, but you're intentional that it's not just for Black viewers, or it's beyond. It's for people of all backgrounds. So how can people relate to this regardless of your racial, ethnic, religious backgrounds?
Well, I think anybody, in the case of JaJa's work, anybody that has been a parent or has been a child can relate to what goes on in a family, and also maybe things that you don't realize are going on at the time until you put a little bit of years behind you. I think with Kahli's work, everybody can relate to the need to have a message to get out, the need to share that, to lift other people up. And I think that, with my stuff, everybody had toys at some point, right? Whether they were, fancy ones or, like something you made yourself. So everybody has a need to express themselves. People want to connect. And I think it also, hopefully, makes people free to feel like they can ask questions. So, yeah, it is definitely all-inclusive.
And so with this exhibition titled Something Extraordinary, what is that something extraordinary that you find within this collaborative project?
You know, I really like the fact that we're not just telling our own stories. There's a personal aspect to it. Yes, like I'll just say my own work. Like it is my story, but it's not just my story, because I know so many men personally who have either been through this or are going through it, and it doesn't get talked about. It doesn't get brought to the light. You know, we're just missing from the conversation. Like, that's how society sees us, as missing. And what I really wanted to do with this work is put it on display. It's not something that I need to be ashamed of, because I've never been ashamed of being a dad, and I never saw a life without my kids. I never once thought, man, I don't want to take care of my kids. No, I want to be responsible for my kids, and I want to be a part of it. And I don't want to be told that I can only see them on these days and these times. That is a universal story, whether people want to acknowledge it or not. Black men, men of color, Puerto Rican, Latino, whatever, we're there. We just don't get talked about.
I like also when I look at all of the pieces here, there's a resourcefulness also. You know, I used to tend to think of the arts as being something really expensive. You need a lot of great equipment. You need, you know, and I'm sure.
And then you see Faustini's work.
Right, exactly.
He does these amazing
exactly.
things.
And I'm using my little dinky dollar store lights to take photos, you know, and Kahli is, you know, making his own giant pencils, and Kimberly is using cut paper. And when I was a little kid, you know, I used to think an artist was, you know, just one type of thing. And then it was just really awesome to have reinforced that, you know, we're all artists. We all are working in different ways, and we're all this great community. That's been the biggest win for me. This was my first art show, so that in and of itself was exciting, but it's the friends you make along the way.
And that does it for this edition of Connecting Point. Remember, you can always find all of the stories that you saw in this episode, as well as exclusive features, digital-only content, and so much more online anytime at nepm.org/connectingpoint. Our thanks to the Durfee Conservatory and the University of Massachusetts Amherst for hosting us today. And please be sure to join us again every week right here for more stories of the creativity, culture, and community that make us Western New England. I'm Saidalis Bauer. Thanks for watching, and take care.
Support for Connecting Point is provided by our contributing viewers.
We're fine.
Stand right there. Has a lot of this company. All of 22, We's Company is one of those places that.
What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Again. It's throwing me off.
Wow, actually, like some even longer. This
I'm smart. Spin. That was a good spin. Perfect.
You were right in what you said. We let our emotions get the better of us.
Welcome to Versailles, Dauphine.
What is required of me?
You say what?
We cannot choose who we fall in love with.
Society can be merciless. Protect yourself.
I can't do this. We have skills and dedication.
Watch these all-new dramas Sunday on NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 is a giant pile of things that we'll be bringing to you on a daily basis. All the cool stuff that you can find in the 4 counties of Western Mass.
Astronomers and dictionary editors and politicians
and pizza
and wine snobs and beer snobs, and we want to explore it all with you. The Fabulous 413 is also you. The Fabulous 413, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. on 88.5 New England Public Media.
Here's what's new this month with Passport.
Whichever way I turn, there's a trap. Let's set this palace on fire.
She's to be married. She is not married yet.
It's never a burden to love or give. The mother is at the heart of everything we do.
These and all your favorite shows are available with Passport. Support your PBS station and stream more with Passport on the PBS app.
Wakona.
Pancreas?
Yes.
As schools match wits, pits area high schools against each other in a fun, competitive quiz show.
Rockville.
The Catcher in the Rye?
Yes, very nice.
Play along with us on social media and tune in Saturday night at 7 as Wacona Regional takes on Rockville High on As Schools Match Wits.
In Costa Rica, much of life depends on a tiny little bird. An architect who brings flowers to the fields and fruit to the forest. The result is a realm bursting with wildlife. This is the hummingbird effect.
The Hummingbird Effect, April 12th at 8 on NEPM.
I've been a lifelong reader and I've always wanted to start a book club. So when I came to NEPM, it seems like a really great opportunity to use literature to bring together our membership. Members sign up online at nepm.org/book club, and then we all get together and answer discussion questions and have a really detailed, nerdy discussion about the book. It's a really fun way to flex those muscles that you may not have used in a while, and also just have a really good time connecting with other readers.
You're watching New England Public Media, WGBY Springfield.
The Chosali movement had a life of its own.
The struggle for Chelsea's freedom is also a struggle of an entire people.
Well, I was not an angel on my side. At the same time, I was not the devil.
Watch live April 24th or stream at NEPM.org.